The most misunderstood reality of the current AI boom. We tend to think of AI as this weightless, magical code just floating around in the cloud. But here's the thing. The cloud is heavy, like really heavy. The AI arms race we're seeing right now is actually driving this massive, concrete and steel physical reality. So today, we're going to uncover the multi-billion-dollar physical foundation that actually makes all this digital magic possible. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First up, the $1 trillion boom. Then, hardware and memory supply chains. Third, powering the AI infrastructure. Fourth, the shift to AI agents. And finally, balancing returns and governance. Section 1, the $1 trillion boom. We are moving from abstract software to massive physical infrastructure. $1 trillion. Just take a second to wrap your head around that number. That absolutely staggering projection comes from a landmark Goldman Sachs report on global capital expenditure for AI. And look, we're not talking about software licensing here. This massive spending cycle is all about raw physical expansion. We're talking high-performance data centers, literally thousands of miles of cooling pipes, structural steel, and silicon deployed on a scale the world has never seen before. That's why $1 trillion is powering this growth, because building an entirely new physical world, it's incredibly expensive. So that obviously brings us to a pretty critical question. Where is all this money actually going, right? If it isn't just paying armies of developers to type code, what exactly are we buying with $1 trillion? Well, the answer lies in the specialized physical environment you need just to train and run these massive digital brains. You literally cannot deploy advanced AI without a highly specialized, totally custom physical layer to support it. All right, moving to Section 2, hardware and memory supply chains. This is the heavy machinery of the AI revolution. We are witnessing a totally stark contrast right now in how technology actually gets built. Traditionally, hardware supply chains operated kind of like a massive catalog, right? You just ordered standard components as you needed them. Simple enough. But the AI era, it requires an entirely new architecture. Major hardware manufacturers and semiconductor fabricators are out there forging these multi-billion-dollar strategic alliances just to lock down specialized, high-bandwidth memory. These memory chips are absolutely the lifeblood of high-performance computing. Without these massive joint ventures securing the pipeline years in advance, honestly, the entire AI revolution would just grind to a halt. Section 3, powering the AI infrastructure, the energy bottleneck of the digital brain. Okay, so here's the reality check. Our outdated power transmission infrastructure is actually threatening this whole system. See, while utility-scale solar and wind generation is expanding rapidly all over the globe, which is great, our existing power grids simply cannot move that clean energy efficiently to the giant data centers that are demanding it. It's a massive bottleneck, and because of this, governments are actually stepping in to subsidize major upgrades. They're specifically funding high-voltage direct current grids just to prevent all this clean energy from being wasted and to ensure these high-performance facilities can literally just keep the lights on. To survive this bottleneck, the very concept of the energy grid itself is having to evolve. We're totally abandoning the old model of passive power consumers, where buildings and factories just pull electricity from the grid and that's it. Instead, we're shifting to this really cool everything-to-grid approach. Residential buildings, electric vehicles, and yes, even these massive AI data centers themselves are being transformed into active power suppliers to help balance the load. It's decentralized, it optimizes capacity, and it massively boosts reliability. It's a total paradigm shift in how we manage electricity. So, who is actually footing the bill for all this mind-boggling infrastructure and power? Well, just follow the money. Major state-backed sovereign wealth funds, particularly out of the Middle East and Asia, are actively reallocating billions of dollars. And their strategy is fascinating. They're simultaneously funding the global AI data centers and the renewable energy projects needed to run them. These aren't just your standard financial portfolio tweaks either. These are highly strategic geopolitical moves. They're positioning themselves to control the infrastructure of the future, which is actively reshaping international alliances as we speak. Which brings us to Section 4, the shift to AI agents, maturing from basic applications to foundational architecture. If you look at venture capital right now, the funding focus is aggressively shifting. We've totally moved past basic software apps, we're moving past standard generative AI chatbots, and now the lion's share of investment is landing firmly on foundational AI agent infrastructure. And you might be asking, why does this specific shift justify $1 trillion in hardware? Well, unlike a basic chatbot that just sits there idle waiting for you to type a prompt, AI agents run continuously. They autonomously orchestrate complex, multi-step tasks all across enterprise networks. They literally never sleep. And because they never sleep, the servers never stop burning compute. All right, our final section, Section 5, Balancing Returns and Governance. This is the economic and regulatory reality check. Okay, so this massive trillion-dollar deployment, it's actually starting to face some intense financial pushback. There's this growing sentiment among global executives that really captures it perfectly. Corporate technology leaders are accelerating artificial intelligence deployment while demanding stricter proof of financial return on investment. Basically, organizations absolutely want the automation and the efficiency for sure, but they are absolutely done handing out blank checks. They're trying to balance these incredibly ambitious tech goals with highly pragmatic execution, especially with all the broader economic uncertainty going on. Basically, this tech has to prove it can justify its enormous fiscal costs. And right alongside that financial pressure, yep, you guessed it, regulatory pressure. Legislative bodies all over the world are rolling out comprehensive compliance frameworks for cross-border AI deployment. Companies are now facing incredibly strict governance rules. They have to ensure algorithmic transparency, which means they actually have to be able to explain how their AI is making its decisions, no more black boxes. They also have to guarantee rigorous data privacy protection and establish clear copyright accountability for the massive data sets used to train these models. The whole Wild West phase of AI development, yeah, that is rapidly coming to a close. Which leaves us with a final, incredibly important question to chew on. Is our physical world actually ready for a trillion-dollar digital brain? As we've explored today, AI is so much more than just code floating in the ether. It's copper, it's silicon, it's massive high-voltage power lines, and it's billions of dollars in highly specialized supply chains. Our digital future relies entirely on our ability to build, power, and govern this incredibly massive physical footprint. I really hope this explainer gave you a much clearer, more structured view of the true realities driving artificial intelligence today. Thank you so much for learning with me, and hey, stay curious.